Chapter 1. The sound of the piano filled the small room, each note resonating against the walls, creating an atmosphere that seemed to envelop everyone present. I sat there, fingers poised over the keys, my heart racing. It was a Wednesday evening at our church in Houston, and the usual crowd was gathered for choir practice. But tonight felt different. There was an energy in the air that I couldn't quite put my finger on. As I took a deep breath, I glanced at the familiar faces of the congregation. There was Mr. Johnson, the usher, always with a warm smile, Mrs. Lee, who brought the best baked goods to potlucks, and then there was Miss Fields, my piano teacher, who always believed in me, even when I didn't. But she wasn't the only one I noticed. At the back sat a new family, limousines and designer clothes signaling a wealth that felt worlds apart from mine. The father, a tall man with an imposing presence, looked at me with something I couldn't quite decipher. Was it curiosity or disdain? It's just a piano, I had to remind myself. Yet my palms were clammy. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. I had worked hard for this opportunity. The church had given me a scholarship for piano lessons, and now I was determined to prove I belonged. As my fingers danced across the keys, I added a bit of jazz to my classical piece, infusing it with a spirit that spoke of my dreams and struggles. Music was my refuge, my voice, a way to share my story without needing words. I could feel the room transform with each chord I played. The congregation fell silent, lost in the moment. But just as I reached the climax of the song, I noticed him again. The man leaned over to his wife, whispering something that made her laugh, a short, sharp sound that sliced through the music. My fingers faltered for just a moment, but then I pushed onward, pouring every ounce of my soul into the melody. I couldn't let his judgment cloud my passion. I finished the piece with a flourish, holding the last note longer than usual. The silence that followed was deafening. I glanced up, searching the faces in the room. Would they applaud? Would they see me as I wanted to be seen? Suddenly, the rich man stood up, clapping slowly. "Not bad for a kid," he boomed, his voice dripping with condescension. A wave of heat rushed over me. I had braced myself for applause, not mockery. My heart sank, but I forced a smile, protective of my pride. "Thank you," I replied, trying to keep my tone steady even as anger bubbled beneath the surface. I wanted to tell him that this was more than just a performance. It wasn't just notes, it was my life, my heritage. But the words caught in my throat. Instead, I turned back to the piano. The congregation shifted in their seats, a mix of discomfort and pity filling the air. Miss Fields stepped up to me, her hand resting lightly on my shoulder. "You played beautifully, dear. Never let anyone take that away from you," she said softly, her voice a soothing balm against my bruised ego. But the rich man's laughter echoed in my mind, a cruel reminder that not everyone would appreciate what I had to offer. As I looked back at the new family, I saw the father's face alight with a mocking grin, but something inside me, a flicker of determination, ignited. I wouldn't let his contempt define me. I took a deep breath, preparing for whatever came next. I knew I had to show them all that I was more than just a black boy at a piano. I was a force to be reckoned with, and I would not be silenced. Chapter 2. The service ended, but the tension lingered like an unwelcome guest. As the congregation began to disperse, I slipped away from the piano, feeling the weight of every word that man had spoken. I could still hear his snide remark echoing in my mind. Not bad for a kid. To him, I was just a curiosity, a distraction. But Miss Fields was right. I couldn't let his words impact my passion for music. I found a quiet corner in the church hall, away from the bustling crowd. I closed my eyes and let the memories of my practice sessions wash over me, those quiet mornings alone, the late nights pushing through sheet music, my hands moving autonomously as melodies poured from my heart. "Hey there, talented one," a voice suddenly broke through my thoughts. It was Caleb, my best friend since childhood, a kid with an easy smile and an infectious laugh. "You knocked it out of the park tonight. I mean, ignoring that guy's nonsense." "Thanks, man," I replied, forcing a smile. It just sucks to know that some people think they're better than everyone else. Caleb shrugged. "Ignore them. You're amazing, and everyone knows it, except for people like him." He looked over his shoulder, and I followed his gaze. The rich man was talking animatedly with his wife, clearly unconcerned about what he had just said. "Easy for you to say," I muttered. "That kind of stuff sticks to you, you know." "It only sticks if you let it," Caleb replied, his tone serious now. "You have a gift, Jamal. Don't let someone like him dim your light." I admired his unwavering confidence. For Caleb, life was straightforward. He saw the world with a clarity that often eluded me. "Right," I said, forcing a chuckle. "Easier said than done." As we walked back to the main hall, I spotted Miss Fields chatting with some of the choir members, her eyes twinkling with warmth. I felt a twinge of gratitude for her presence in my life. Music was our shared language, an unbreakable bond that united us. In this moment, I realized I wasn't alone. Suddenly, the rich man's wife approached us. "Excuse me, young man," she said, her tone clipped. I braced myself for the worst. "You play quite well, but I think you should stick to classical. You wouldn't want to embarrass yourself trying to be something you're not." Her words felt like a slap to the face. For a moment, I was speechless. "I appreciate your feedback," I managed to say, fighting to keep my cool, "but music is about expression. It's about who I am." She smirked slightly, but I noticed a flicker of surprise in her eyes. It sparked a new kind of courage within me. Just because she dismissed me didn't mean I had to internalize it. I felt Caleb's presence beside me, a silent support I was grateful for. "Look, we've got a rehearsal to get to," I said finally, hoping to dismiss her. Despite the sting of her words, a newfound resolve began to solidify in my heart. "You're brave for a kid," she said, almost softer now, but there was still a hint of condescension. I ignored her and walked away, determined to focus on what mattered, my music. Caleb and I made our way back to the piano, and just as I was about to sit down, I heard a voice calling my name. It was Ms. Fields, her face glowing with excitement. "Jamal, I have something I want to discuss with you about the upcoming talent show. I think you should participate." At the mention of the talent show, my mind raced. This could be my chance to show everyone, including that rich man and his wife, that I wouldn't be defined by their prejudices. That night, I imagined the spotlight shining on me, the audience captivated as I played. "Count me in," I said to Miss Fields, my voice steady. "I'll give it my all." Caleb nudged me with a grin. "That's the spirit, man. Just remember, no one can judge your passion for music." As I began to play again, the notes flowing from my fingertips felt different, empowered. I closed my eyes, lost in the rhythm, and for a moment I imagined a world where music had the power to break down barriers, a world where judgment ceased to exist. That world was within reach, and I was ready to claim it. Chapter 3. The days passed, each one blending into the next as I practiced for the talent show. I dedicated every spare moment to pouring my heart into the music, the melodies becoming my escape from the weight of the world. Each note I played felt like a declaration, a testimony of my journey, my identity. Rehearsals were a flurry of excitement and tension, with fellow musicians sharing their talents and dreams. I made fast friends, each of us pushing one another to be better. There was Mia, a singer with a voice that could bring you to tears, and Thomas, a dancer whose movements seemed to defy gravity. We laughed, we practiced, and for the first time in a while, I felt like I was part of something bigger. But even amidst this newfound joy, the shadows of the past crept in. I often thought back to the rich man and his wife, replaying their dismissive remarks in my mind. Just when I started to feel good about my progress, those memories would rear their ugly heads, trying to diminish the fire within me. One evening, after a long practice session, I found myself alone in the church. The silence felt heavy, and I could almost hear my heartbeat echoing off the walls. I sat down at the piano, allowing my emotions to pour out in a flurry of keys. I played not just to practice, but to heal, letting the music drown out the negativity that lingered like a ghost. Suddenly, I heard footsteps approaching. It was Ms. Fields. She watched quietly for a moment before speaking. "You've really come into your own, Jamal. I can see how much this means to you." "Thanks, Ms. Fields." I paused, my fingers stilling over the keys. Sometimes, though, it feels like I'm fighting an uphill battle. I don't want to let those voices win. She stepped closer, her expression softening. "Those voices can be loud, but remember, they don't define you. Your music is a reflection of your truth, your experiences. Embrace it. Let it be your armor." Her words struck a chord deep within me. I wanted to believe that I could rise above the judgment and mockery, that my music could be my shield. I nodded, drawing strength from her encouragement. "Have you thought more about what you want to perform?" she asked, her eyes glinting with curiosity. "I have some ideas," I replied, excitement bubbling up in my chest. "I want to mix classical with something that reflects who I am, the streets I grew up in, my life." "Then do it," she urged. "Compose something that speaks to your soul, make it your story." That night I went home inspired. I sat at my keyboard, letting my fingers dance over the keys in a rhythmic flow. I wanted to weave together a tapestry of sound that represented my struggles, my dreams, and the beautiful chaos of my life. Slowly, a piece began to take shape, melodic notes gently intertwined with rhythmic beats that mirrored the heart of Houston. Weeks passed as I refined my composition, each practice drawing me closer to the person I wanted to be, not just a boy at a piano, but a musician with something to say. I let my heart guide each note, remembering the harsh words thrown my way. Instead of letting them fester, I transformed that pain into something beautiful, something powerful. As the talent show approached, a mix of anticipation and anxiety surged within me. I felt ready yet terrified, buzzing with excitement while fearing the scrutiny of an audience, particularly from the rich man who had once mocked me. On the night of the show, the church auditorium pulsed with energy. The lights dimmed, and as the first performers took the stage, I could barely contain my nerves. I watched them shine, their talent mesmerizing the crowd. Each clap and cheer ignited my fire, and slowly I felt the weight of my own doubts lifting. When my turn finally came, my heart raced as I walked onto the stage, the spotlight glaring down on me. I could see familiar faces in the crowd, nodding in encouragement, but my eyes locked on the back. There he was, the rich man, arms crossed, an unreadable expression on his face. I took a deep breath, grounding myself in the moment. As I sat at the piano, I let the world around me fade away. The first notes rang out, and I began to play. I poured everything I had into that performance, each note imbued with my heart and soul. I played not just for myself, but for anyone who felt judged, anyone who had ever been looked down upon because of where they came from. As I reached the crescendo, I could feel the crowd leaning in, alive with my music. I glanced back at the rich man, and to my surprise, his expression had shifted. He was no longer mocking. There was intrigue, even respect in his eyes. I completed my piece to thunderous applause, the energy in the room electric. For the first time, I had truly felt heard. As I stood up and took a bow, I knew that I had made my mark, not just on that stage, but in my own life. The richness of my story had found its voice, and nothing, not even the harshest criticism, could take that away. Chapter 4. As I stepped off the stage, the applause still ringing in my ears, a flood of emotions surged through me. I had done it. I had poured my heart into that performance, and it felt like I had finally claimed my place in the world. Caleb was waiting for me in the wings, his eyes wide with excitement. "You were incredible. I knew you could do it." He pulled me in for a quick hug, the warmth of his support grounding me in the afterglow of my triumph. "Thanks, man, I can't believe I just did that," I replied, still buzzing. But as I caught my breath, a wave of anxiety began to creep in. What would that rich man say now? Would he have the same smirk on his face, or had my music changed his mind? Just then Miss Fields approached, beaming with pride. "Jamal, you were extraordinary. I'm so proud of you. Your music was alive, it had heart." Her enthusiasm made my chest swell with gratitude. "You really think so?" I asked, still feeling unsure. "I don't have to think, I know. Your performance resonated with everyone here. It's more than just piano, it's what you bring to the music. And it's powerful," she encouraged, her eyes sparkling. I was about to thank her again when I noticed the rich man making his way through the crowd, his imposing figure cutting through the throng of excited faces. My heart raced as he approached. I braced myself for whatever scathing remark might come next. To my surprise, he stopped in front of me, his expression unreadable. "Jamal, right?" he asked, his tone noticeably softer than before. I didn't realize you had so much talent. That was impressive." "Thank you," I managed, unsure of what else to say. "I see I underestimated you, kid," he continued, his demeanor shifting. "That was not just a performance, it was captivating. You have a gift and you should share it." I blinked, taken aback. This was not the reaction I expected. "I appreciate that," I replied slowly, still cautious. "Music is really important to me." He nodded as if reflecting on his words. "It shows. Just know that talent deserves respect, no matter where it comes from." His wife stepped over, looking annoyed at him mingling with me. "Honey, we should move on. We have things to do." "Give me a moment," he replied, his gaze steady. "Jamal, consider this. Keep working at your craft. Don't let anyone else's opinion hold you back, not even mine." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving me in an odd mix of confusion and empowerment. Would he really mean it? Was I actually beginning to break through the walls that had kept me from being seen? Caleb's voice broke through my thoughts again. "Did he just compliment you? What was that about?" "I have no idea," I chuckled, "but it feels different, like maybe I've made an impact, even in the slightest way." The energy in the auditorium surged as the evening progressed, performances flowing seamlessly one after another. Each act brought something unique, and the audience remained engaged, cheering and supporting everyone. But no matter what else happened, my heart swelled with pride for what I had accomplished. After everything wrapped up, Ms. Fields gathered us all for a quick debrief, her excitement infectious. "I want to hear what you all plan to do next. Jamal, you particularly have an interesting journey ahead of you." "Honestly, I want to keep composing, keep performing. This experience has shown me I can do more than just play classical pieces," I admitted, a fire igniting within. "I want to create music that tells a story, music that speaks to who I am and where I come from." "Then do just that," she urged, her enthusiasm bolstering my confidence. You have the talent, and now you have the validation. Own it." As the crowd began to thin out, I stayed behind to help clean up. Caleb and I worked side by side, joking and chatting about future plans. I felt lighter, freer, more determined than ever. "Want to jam tomorrow?" he asked, clearly eager to explore new ideas together. "Absolutely," I grinned. "Let's see where this can take us." As we finished up, I glanced back at the empty stage where I had just bared my soul. It was more than a piece of wood and ivory. It was a platform, a place for me to amplify my voice. No longer would I let anyone's judgment silence me. With every step I took out of the church, I carried my dreams with me. The rich man's words, Miss Field's encouragement, Caleb's unwavering support, they had all woven together a tapestry of strength. I was ready to face whatever came next, with my music guiding the way. Chapter 5. The weeks that followed the talent show were a whirlwind of inspiration. I was consumed with new ideas, each note I played resonating with the energy of my recent triumph. Every morning, I found myself at the church, the familiar scent of polished wood and old hymnals motivating me to keep pushing forward. Caleb and I met regularly, our jam sessions evolving into powerful collaborations. We explored different genres, fusing jazz rhythms with classical harmonies. Gradually, we discovered our own sound, an infectious blend that felt both fresh and rooted in our experiences. We talked about performing together, something I had only dreamed of before. One sunny afternoon, as we wrapped up a particularly productive session, Caleb looked at me with bright eyes. "We should share this with everyone. Let's host our own performance right here at the church. We can invite friends, family, anyone who wants to listen," he suggested excitedly. "I love that idea," I replied, my heart racing at the prospect. "It'll be great to show what we've been working on." As we planned the event, I couldn't shake the feeling of hope that had taken root within me. This wasn't just about performing, it was about building a community. I wanted to create a space where people could come together through the power of music, regardless of background or circumstances. Meanwhile, Miss Fields took notice of our enthusiasm. During one of our lessons, she turned to me with a grin. "You know, Jamal, I think your journey is truly inspiring. I'd love to help you promote your show. We could put up flyers around the church and community centers." Really, my excitement bubbled over. That would be amazing. It could attract a bigger crowd than we hoped for. With her help, we put together a plan, contacting friends and family to spread the word. It became a community event, a celebration of music and diversity, allowing us to share our passions and stories. As the date approached, I felt a mixture of excitement and nerves. Moments would arise when I'd remember the rich man and his dismissive tone, but I tried to banish those thoughts. I had worked hard and built something special with Caleb. My own narrative was taking shape. The day of the performance arrived, and the church was buzzing with energy. Chairs filled up quickly, the warm light of afternoon sun pouring through stained glass, casting colorful reflections on the walls. I caught sight of familiar faces, Miss Fields, family members, friends, and I realized I was surrounded by a community that believed in me. Caleb and I set up our equipment on stage, adjusted microphones, and finalized the set list. As the lights dimmed, a hush fell over the crowd. I could feel the adrenaline surging through me. This was it, the moment we would unveil our hard work. As we opened our show, my fingers danced over the keys, and the music swept through the room, eliciting smiles and tapped feet. Caleb joined in, his voice harmonizing beautifully with the piano, filling every corner of the church with vibrant sound. Each piece we played told a story, intertwining the struggles and joys of our lives. I caught a glimpse of Miss Fields, her nodding in approval reflecting the depths of her belief in me. I could see my mother wiping away tears in the front row, her pride shining through. With each passing song, I felt lighter, more connected to everyone around me. Midway through the performance, we invited a few friends from our choir to join us. The sweet blend of voices created a beautiful harmony, embodying the essence of community we had aimed to cultivate. Everyone was smiling, clapping, and cheering, each sound a reminder that we were all in this together. After our final song, a powerful fusion of jazz and classical, the applause erupted like fireworks. I beamed at Caleb, whose infectious energy matched my own. We had done it. As we took our bows, I noticed the rich man standing at the back again. This time, he was clapping along with everyone else, a genuine smile on his face. Perhaps my music had truly reached him, breaking down the barriers I once felt separated us. With the show concluded, we mingled with guests, laughter echoing in the hall. I felt a profound sense of accomplishment, like a seed that had finally blossomed into something extraordinary. Moments later, the rich man approached me, a new warmth in his demeanor. "Jamal, that was remarkable. I believe I underestimated you before, but you've shown me something special tonight. Thank you, I replied, surprised but encouraged by his transformation. It means a lot coming from you. He leaned slightly closer, his voice sincere. Music has a way of bridging gaps, doesn't it? Keep sharing your gift. It can touch lives in ways you may not even realize. I nodded, absorbing his words. They confirmed what I had felt all along, that my music was more than just notes on a page. It was a language of connection, a means to share experiences, and a way to be heard. As I looked around at the enthusiastic crowd, I felt a shift within me. I was no longer just the black boy at the piano. I was a musician, an artist, and a storyteller. I had found my voice, and I was ready to share it with the world, one note at a time. Chapter 6. In the days following the performance, I found myself riding a wave of exhilaration. The feedback from our show was overwhelmingly positive, and the community buzzed with excitement about our music. Caleb and I spent afternoons planning our next steps, our minds racing with ideas for future performances and collaborations. The church offered to host a series of open mic nights, and we were invited to lead the first one. Each of us was eager to provide a platform for others to share their talents. It felt like a dream come true, a chance to create something lasting, a space that celebrated the diversity and richness of our community. As we started organizing the open mic night, I felt a sense of responsibility wash over me. It was no longer just about my own journey. It was about uplifting others, amplifying their stories, and giving them the confidence to share their own narratives through music. I wanted everyone to feel that spark I had experienced on stage, that moment of connection that came through the shared love of music. One afternoon, as we finalized plans, I received a phone call from Ms. Fields. Jamal, I have some exciting news. A local music festival is happening next month, and they're looking for fresh talent. I think you and Caleb should apply. Are you serious? I asked, my heart racing at the thought. That would be incredible. I truly believe you two would shine, she encouraged. You have a unique sound and a story to tell. Submit your application today, and I'll help you prepare. With her words igniting a fire within me, I hung up and turned to Caleb. We have to enter this festival. It could be a huge opportunity for us. Let's do it, he exclaimed, his eyes lit up with enthusiasm. We've worked hard. It's time for the world to see what we can offer. As we dove into preparing for the festival, I began to feel the pressure mount. I wanted everything to be perfect. We spent long nights rehearsing, tweaking our songs, and even composing a new original piece that reflected our journey so far. We put our hearts into every note, the music evolving into something raw and authentic. A week before the festival, we received confirmation that we had been selected to perform. The thrill of excitement overshadowed any lingering doubts, yet in the quiet moments, I still found myself reflecting on the rich man's transformation. Had he truly changed? Would he appreciate our music when he saw it performed again? On the day of the festival, I arrived early, eager to soak in the atmosphere. The grounds were alive with color, food stalls set up alongside stages showcasing different performances. People chatted and laughed, their spirits high. I took a deep breath, allowing myself to absorb the energy. When it was time for us to take the stage, my pulse raced. Walking under the bright lights, I felt a sense of destiny wash over me. As we began to play, the world around us faded, and we lost ourselves in the music. It was as if each note carved out a place in the hearts of the audience. The crowd responded immediately, their excitement palpable. I shared our story through the music, letting the melodies carry the weight of our journey. With each song, I saw faces lighting up, people connecting with the raw emotion pouring from us. About halfway through our set, I spotted the rich man in the audience again, standing near the front. His presence filled me with a mix of excitement and anxiety, but it also reinforced my resolve. I wanted to show him that my music transcended boundaries, that it could be a force for change. As we closed with our original piece, a culmination of everything we had experienced, I felt an electric connection with the audience. I could see heads nodding, bodies swaying, people completely immersed in the moment. The final note rang out, and silence enveloped the space for a heartbeat before applause erupted like thunder. The crowd cheered, some rising to their feet, and I could hardly believe the overwhelming joy wrapped around us. I turned to Caleb, who wore a wide grin, eyes sparkling with disbelief and excitement. After our performance, as we basked in the afterglow of the moment, people began to approach us, offering praise and encouragement. It was surreal. With each compliment, I realized we had made a genuine impact. Then I noticed the rich man making his way through the crowd, a thoughtful expression on his face. He finally reached me, extending his hand. Jamal, your music is more than just sound. It's powerful. You've truly come into your own. Thank you, I replied, taken aback but grateful for his sincerity. I appreciate that. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear what you had to say. Your journey, he continued, sincerity emanating from his words. Music has a way of connecting us all, doesn't it? It absolutely does, I replied, feeling a shared understanding bloom between us. As the festival continued, Caleb and I found ourselves swept up in the excitement. Other performers approached, wanting to collaborate, share, and create together. It was everything I had envisioned, music uniting people, breaking barriers, and creating lasting connections. As we wrapped up our evening, I stood there, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment wash over me. It wasn't simply about performing, it was about embracing vulnerability and discovering the strength within community. We had created a space not just for ourselves, but for everyone yearning to share their story. Looking around, I realized that my journey had led me here, to this moment, a celebration of identity and unity through music. And as long as I had my piano and my voice, I would continue to share my truth, striving to inspire others along the way. Chapter 7. In the days after the festival, a newfound energy filled the air. The support we had received transformed our little community into a burgeoning hub of creativity. Inspired by the overwhelming response, Caleb and I decided to form a regular jam session, inviting musicians from all walks of life to come and share their gifts. We set a date for our first gathering, and the church was abuzz with anticipation. I felt a mix of excitement and hope as I envisioned a space where creativity flowed freely, where stories were exchanged through music, uniting people in a common experience. When the day finally arrived, the sun shone bright, illuminating the church and casting colorful reflections through the stained glass. Musicians began to gather, bringing everything from guitars to trumpets, their laughter echoing through the hall. I greeted everyone eagerly, feeling the atmosphere crackle with potential. As we kicked off the session, I realized it wasn't just about sharing our talents, it was about building connections. Each musician brought their own story, their unique sound, and the blending of styles created a vibrant atmosphere. We played a mix of genres, exploring the boundaries of creativity together. I noticed Mia among the group, her voice smooth and soulful as she joined in on a song. Previously, she let her shyness hold her back, but tonight she was shining. It filled me with joy to see everyone blossom, becoming part of this beautiful tapestry we were creating. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere grew more electric. We encouraged one another to take risks, to explore uncharted territory in our musical journey. The blend of notes and voices formed a unique harmony, enveloping us in a sense of unity that felt magical. Unfortunately, as the night unfolded, I could see a few skeptical faces lingering at the back of the room. It was the rich man and his wife, standing together, arms crossed, an unsettling presence amid the joy around us. My heart dropped ever so slightly. Doubts crept back in about whether our music could truly resonate with everyone. But then I shook it off. I reminded myself of why we were here. I focused on the laughter and connection happening right before my eyes. We had created a space where people felt seen and valued, and that was powerful. As our session drew to a close, I invited everyone to share their thoughts and feelings. Mia spoke about how playing in such an open and welcoming space had reignited her passion for music. Thomas shared his desire to inspire others through dance, no longer shackled by fear. The sense of community was palpable, and I could feel everyone's heart beating in sync. When it was the rich man's turn to speak, he surprised everyone. I have to admit, he began, his gaze scanning the room, I was skeptical about this gathering. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, but watching all of you express yourselves so openly, it's beautiful. I underestimated the power of music to connect people, and I regret not realizing that sooner. His words caught me off guard. I had expected criticism or indifference, but there was a sincere acknowledgement of what we were creating. The room fell silent, and in that moment, he became part of our community, if only for a fleeting instance. Thank you for being honest, I replied, finding my voice. That's what this is all about, sharing our stories and building connections. He nodded, a genuine smile breaking through the seriousness of his demeanor. I'd like to learn more. Perhaps you could share some of your music with my daughter. She's been struggling to find her voice. I felt a lump in my throat. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about making a difference in someone else's life too. Of course, I said earnestly, I'd be more than happy to help. With that, the evening flowed on, filled with laughter, music, and an ever-deepening bond within our community. The skepticism that initially hovered over the rich man seemed to dissipate, replaced by an openness that welcomed collaboration. As the night came to a close, we exchanged contact information, encouraging each other to remain in touch and keep the creative spirit alive. I watched as the rich man and his wife left the church, chatting animatedly about their newfound experience. It was a small but significant step toward breaking down walls, proof that even the most entrenched perceptions could change. Under the dim light of the church, surrounded by newfound friends and fellow musicians, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. I understood now that this journey was more than just personal growth. It was about creating a community of acceptance and celebration. Looking ahead, I could envision us hosting regular events, bringing together more people to share their stories and talents. This wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. As I drifted off to sleep that night, I held on to the dream of a world where music could bridge divides. I was ready to continue the journey, one note, one performance, one connection at a time. Chapter 8. As summer rolled in, our open mic nights became a staple in the community. Each gathering drew a diverse crowd, buzzing with excitement. Musicians, poets, and artists of every kind began to fill the church each week, creating an atmosphere that positively crackled with creativity. It felt like home. Word spread throughout the community, and new faces began to show up. I could see kids from local schools, families seeking connection, and even people from different neighborhoods, each bringing their story to share. Each performer added a new layer to our ongoing narrative, the music binding us in a way that surpassed our differences. Caleb and I continued to grow as a duo, constantly refining our sound. We spent countless hours exploring new rhythms, trying out fresh ideas, and pushing the boundaries of what we could create together. Our combined energy attracted attention, and soon we were asked to collaborate with local artists for their projects as well. One afternoon after practice, I sat down with Ms. Fields, eager to share our progress. "There's been so much positive response," I said excitedly. "Caleb and I even got asked to perform at a local street fair next month. It's crazy." She smiled warmly, her eyes shimmering with pride. "That's wonderful, Jamal. You're building something truly meaningful. But remember, it's important to keep your authenticity at the forefront. There will always be pressure to conform, but your voice is what makes you unique." "Absolutely, I plan to keep it real," I replied, reflecting on how far I'd come. "This has become so much more than just music for me. I want to give a voice to the stories that often go unheard." With our street fair performance approaching, we decided to invite some of our other open mic participants to collaborate as well. It felt right to include everyone in this next step. After all, this was a collective journey. On the day of the fair, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. The streets were lined with vendors, food trucks buzzing with activity, and laughter permeating the atmosphere. As I took in the sights and sounds, I felt a deep sense of belonging. This was our community, and we were all part of it. Caleb and I arrived early to set up our gear on the makeshift stage, checking levels and running through our set list. I spotted Mia arriving with a group of her friends, her face beaming with excitement. She had decided to perform alongside us, bringing a vocal element that would elevate our sound even further. As more performers began to arrive, I was struck by the variety of talent we had cultivated. From spoken word poets to dancers, each act was a celebration of individuality, a testament to our purpose. We mingled, shared laughter, and the excitement of performance flowed through us all. When it was our turn to take the stage, the energy was electric. Facing the crowd, I felt a rush of gratitude wash over me. As we played our first song, a mixture of polished pieces and improvised riffs, I let myself be fully present in the moment. With each strum of the guitar and every note I played, I felt like I was inviting everyone to share in something special. Mia joined in with her soaring vocals, layering over the rhythm we established. The crowd swayed, clapped, and cheered, becoming a living, breathing part of our music. I had never felt so alive, so connected to the people around me. As we performed, I locked eyes with the rich man again, who had returned with his daughter. She was smiling, clearly enjoying the music and atmosphere, and for the first time, I saw genuine appreciation on his face. It filled me with hope. Perhaps he had realized the importance of community in fostering creativity and the shared love for music that transcended social barriers. We finished our set, and I could feel the whole crowd erupt with applause, their support filling my heart with joy. Afterward, performers from our open mic nights joined us, a spontaneous collaboration that brought everyone together to celebrate each other's successes. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the fair, I looked around at the smiling faces, the laughter and connection weaving through the air. I recognized the power we held, not just as individuals, but as a community united in creativity. Once the event concluded, I walked over to the rich man, still high on the adrenaline of our performance. "I see your daughter really enjoyed it," I said, genuinely curious. "She loved every minute," he replied, a warmth in his smile. I had forgotten how music could create such a joyful space. Thank you for inviting her in. It's our pleasure. We're all about sharing the music and creating connections, I said, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Actually, I'd like to explore how I can help support this community further, he said, his voice sincere. Whether through sponsorship for future events or providing instruments, I believe in what you're doing. Wow, that would be incredible, I replied, my heart racing at the thought of expanding the impact we had already begun to cultivate. We would be grateful for any support. As we exchanged ideas for collaborating on future events, I felt like I was standing on the precipice of something beautiful. My journey, once marred by doubt, was now blossoming into a remarkable story of growth, unity, and transformation. With every note played, every truth shared, I was reminded of the power of music to heal and connect, to weave lives together in unexpected ways. I realized that the rich man was not just a once-mocking figure. He was becoming part of our story, a testament to the change and understanding that music could foster. Walking away from the fair that evening, surrounded by friends and newly formed connections, I felt more grounded than ever. This was just the beginning of our journey, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next, with my piano, my friends, and a community eager to share in the power of music. Chapter 9. As the weeks turned into months, our community continued to flourish, and our open mic nights became a beloved tradition. The rich man, now more engaged, took an active role in supporting our events. He organized a fundraiser to help secure instruments for aspiring musicians in the area, further solidifying our mission to uplift voices that often went unheard. One evening, as we prepared for another jam session, I found myself reflecting on how far we had come. The church had transformed from a simple venue into a vibrant hub of creativity and connection. It felt like a safe space where individuals could express themselves freely, and I was filled with gratitude for everyone who had contributed to this journey. Caleb and I entered the sanctuary, where musicians were already testing out their instruments. I can't believe how much this place has changed, I said, glancing around at friends chatting and tuning their guitars. Right, it's like every time we turn around, something new is happening, Caleb replied, his eyes brightening as he spotted Mia setting up her microphone. I can't wait to hear what everyone has planned tonight. As the session kicked off, a sense of camaraderie enveloped the room. I performed a couple of our original pieces, feeling the music resonate with the audience, their faces lighting up in response. Mia followed with her stunning vocals, and together we created a blend of sound that echoed through the sanctuary, enrapturing all who listened. After a few more acts, I took a moment to invite everyone to share their experiences. So many of us have found a voice here, and I'd love to hear what this community means to you, I said, hoping to foster an open dialogue. One of the newer performers, a young woman named Eliza, spoke up. I moved here a few months ago, and this place has become my second home. I had never sung in public before, but you all made it feel so safe. Thank you for that. The crowd erupted in supportive applause, and I felt a warmth blanket over the group. That's what this is about, I said, nodding. We're here to uplift one another. As the night wore on, I caught sight of the rich man again, talking animatedly with a few of the other musicians. It was remarkable to witness his transformation. He was no longer an outsider, but had become part of our tapestry. Later, while Caleb and Mia took their turns on stage, I stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. As I leaned against the church wall, I reflected on how much had changed since that first mocking comment. This journey had not just been about my growth in music, but about bridging gaps, building relationships, and discovering the power of community. Just then I felt a presence beside me. It was the rich man. Mind if I join you? He asked, his voice casual yet sincere. Of course not, I replied, slightly surprised. How are you enjoying the evening? It's incredible, he said, looking around at the bright faces lit by laughter and music. I never anticipated becoming so invested in this. It's shown me the importance of listening to the music, to the stories, to the people. I smiled at his newfound perspective. This community has a way of bringing people together in unexpected ways. I've thought a lot about my daughter's connection to music, he continued. I want her to feel the empowerment it brings, just as you do. I'd like to help children in this community find that voice. That would be amazing, I said, feeling a surge of inspiration. We're starting a mentorship program for young musicians, and your involvement could make a real impact. His eyes brightened. Count me in. I want to be there to support and learn from these kids, just like you've all done for each other. As he spoke, I could see the transformation in him. His heart had opened to the possibility of empathy and collaboration through music. It was proof that change was possible. We just had to confront our biases head-on. After a few minutes of conversation, we returned inside, and he joined the audience. It was heartening to feel the warmth and acceptance radiating from the crowd. Together, we watched as young performers stepped up, each one pouring their soul into the music. As another talented musician finished her set, the audience erupted in applause, their cheers echoing off the church walls. The atmosphere was tinged with magic, a celebration of hope, resilience, and collective dreams. When the night ended, I felt an overpowering sense of purpose wash over me. The journey had brought me far beyond my original aspirations. It had connected me with people who were just as eager to share their stories. As the musicians packed up their gear, I reflected on how our combined efforts had created a ripple effect, touching lives in ways we could never have imagined. Each note played, every story shared, was a step toward a brighter future. As I headed home that night, I felt invigorated by the connections we were forging and the impact we were making together. With music in my heart and a community backing me, I was ready for whatever came next. The possibilities stretched out ahead, and I was determined to embrace them all, one note at a time. Chapter 10. As the leaves began to change colors and autumn settled over Houston, our community of musicians continued to grow and evolve. Our open mic nights became more than just a showcase. They transformed into a collective celebration of artistry, vulnerability, and connection. Each week brought fresh faces, new stories, and a renewed sense of purpose. With the mentorship program underway, we began to gather a small group of young musicians eager to learn. The rich man's involvement proved vital, his enthusiasm contagious as he shared his resources and connections, opening doors I never dreamed possible. It felt like we were building something lasting, a network of support that could foster creativity and nurture talent. One Saturday morning, I found myself at the church, setting up for our weekly workshop. As I prepared the space, I reflected on the journey that had led me here. I had once felt alone in my passion, uncertain of my voice. Now I was part of a vibrant tapestry woven together by the shared love of music. Caleb arrived just as I finished arranging the chairs, his usual grin stretching from ear to ear. "Are you ready for today?" he asked, excitement bubbling in his voice. "Absolutely, I can't wait to meet the new kids," I replied. "This is what we've been working toward." As more young musicians trickled in, I felt a rush of energy. They ranged in age and experience, from kids just beginning to discover their love for music to teens already brimming with talent. Each of them carried their own dreams and aspirations, and I was determined to help them translate that passion into something tangible. The rich man arrived, bringing along a couple of his colleagues who were eager to help. They brought instruments for the kids, a thoughtful gesture that sparked joy in all of us. "We want to ensure everyone has access to the tools they need," he said, his sincerity evident in his voice. "Thank you so much for believing in this initiative," I responded, genuinely touched. "You have no idea how much this means to them." As the workshop began, I took a seat at the piano, and the kids gathered around me. I watched as their eyes lit up with wonder when I played a few chords, the sound reverberating through the space. I could see the excitement in their faces, a reflection of what I had once felt in those initial moments of discovery. Caleb and I decided to structure the workshop around collaboration, allowing everyone to express themselves while also learning from one another. We encouraged them to share their musical backgrounds, and the energy in the room was palpable. One young girl named Ava stood up, her tiny frame hardly intimidating, yet her confidence impressed me. "I like to write songs," she said, her voice steady. "I've never performed in front of anyone before, but I want to try." "Then let's write something together," I encouraged. "We'll support you." The group rallied around her, eager to help. Together, we crafted a melody to match the lyrics she had written. With each note, she began to feel the weight lift from her shoulders. By the time we finished, Ava radiated a sense of pride that filled the room. "See, you did it," I cheered, as the kids erupted into applause. "This is what it's all about, doing it together." As the workshop went on, I noticed several other kids stepping up, sharing their own stories, experiences, and songs. It was heartwarming to see the bonds forming, their laughter mingling with music, creating a supportive and inviting space. Later in the afternoon, as we took a break, I saw the rich man talking with his daughter, a sweet girl who had been watching along with admiration in her eyes. It was evident that she was discovering her own passion, and I felt a wave of gratitude that our journey could positively impact others. As I rejoined the group, I announced, "Next week, we'll have a little showcase for everyone to perform what they've worked on, just a casual evening to share." The kids cheered, each one eager to share their progress. I could see how the excitement began to build. A sense of ownership had sprouted within them, and it brought me immense joy to witness. As we wrapped up, the atmosphere buzzed with positivity. I stepped outside for a moment, breathing in the crisp autumn air while reflecting on the transformation that had taken place, not just in the rich man, but in all of us. Music had become a bridge, connecting people and allowing for vulnerabilities to be embraced rather than shunned. That evening, as I sat at the piano, I began to compose a new piece, a tribute to the journey we had all shared. I wanted to capture the essence of community, the strength in vulnerability, and the power of music to change lives. With every note I played, I felt a sense of fulfillment wash over me. This was more than just music. It was a movement, one that would resonate long after the last note faded. And as long as I had my piano and this incredible community beside me, I knew our stories would continue to unfold, woven together by the threads of melody and harmony. I was ready for whatever came next, confident that together, we could create a future full of hope and connection. Chapter 11. The night of the showcase arrived, and excitement buzzed through the air like electricity. The church felt transformed, decked out with colorful lights and decorations, turning the sanctuary into a cozy performance space. Chairs were set up for the audience, while a small stage was adorned with flowers, a warm invitation for our young musicians. As I paced backstage, I could feel the mixture of nerves and anticipation among the kids. Their expressions ranged from excitement to apprehension, but I reminded them that this was a safe space to share their voices. We were all in this together, and each performance was a celebration of their artistry. Caleb clapped his hands together to grab everyone's attention. Remember what we talked about. This is your time to shine. Just breathe, have fun, and know that we're all cheering you on. As the lights dimmed, I stepped onto the stage. The warm glow illuminated my face, and I could see the audience, friends, family, and fellow musicians sitting eagerly in their seats. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to share this evening with you. Tonight is all about showcasing the incredible talent within our community. Ava, the girl who had bravely shared her song during the workshop, was up first. As she stepped onto the stage, I could see her hands shaking slightly, but her determination shone through. "This is my first song," she began, her voice steady, "and I hope you like it." As she played, the haunting beauty of her melody filled the space. Every note carried a weight of emotion, a reflection of her heart. The audience listened intently, entranced by her vulnerability. By the time she finished, the room erupted into applause, her beaming smile lighting up the stage. Next came Michael, a quiet boy who had opened up during the workshops. He had decided to perform a cover of a song that had inspired him, and his soulful rendition brought a few audience members to tears. As the last note faded, he looked as if he couldn't believe he had just performed, his disbelief turning into pride as the audience cheered for him. As I watched each child take the stage, I felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and happiness. They were stepping into their power, breaking the barriers that had once held them back. The energy in the room was contagious, and I felt a camaraderie that stretched beyond music. As the showcase rolled on, I saw the rich man and his daughter in the audience, equally captivated by the talent unfolding before them. I could see them exchanging excited remarks, a warmth emanating from their corner. Finally, it was our turn to perform. Caleb and I took our positions on stage, and the audience welcomed us with open hearts. "Tonight, we're going to share a piece we wrote together, inspired by the journeys we've all taken," I said, and I could feel the anticipation pulse through the room. As we played, I poured every ounce of emotion into our melody. Each chord resonated with the stories we had witnessed throughout the evening. I could feel the connection vibrating in the air, the community coming together through every note, every shared moment. When our song finished, the applause was thunderous, wrapping us in a wave of support that felt like a warm embrace. As we stepped off the stage, Caleb and I exchanged triumphant smiles. "We did it," I exclaimed, exhilaration coursing through me. The evening concluded with a group jam session, where everyone, performers and audience alike, came together on stage. Instruments filled the air, voices intermingled, and what had begun as an individual showcase became a collective celebration of our community's creative spirit. I looked around at the faces of my friends, fellow musicians, and even those who had started out skeptical, and I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. What had started with a single note had transformed into something extraordinary, a vibrant community built on trust, acceptance, and love. As the night wore on, I caught sight of the rich man hugging his daughter, who was laughing and enjoying the music around her. It brought a smile to my face. Perhaps he had seen, through all this, the true essence of what we were creating together. As people began to filter out, many stayed behind to chat, to hug, and to share stories. There was a palpable sense of connection, and it warmed my heart to realize how far we had come. Each individual piece we had shared had woven itself into an intricate tapestry that would continue to grow. In the quiet moments that followed, I found myself reflecting on the journey, how music had opened doors, bridged divides, and created a powerful sense of belonging. This was just the beginning. With renewed determination, I thought about the future. We would continue to nurture these budding talents, fostering growth and confidence in every young musician who walked through our doors. Together, we would write the next chapters of our story, one filled with hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds forged through the power of music. With my piano by my side, I could feel the possibilities unfolding, and I was ready to embrace them all. Chapter 12. As the weeks turned into months, our mentorship program flourished, igniting a passion for music in the hearts of many young musicians. The excitement in our open mic nights continued to draw larger crowds, and the sense of community grew stronger with each event. It felt as if we were creating a movement, a cultural renaissance built on creativity and collaboration. One Saturday morning, I found myself at the church again, tweaking the setup for our upcoming workshop. The sun filtered in through the stained glass, casting colorful patterns across the floor, and I couldn't help but smile at the camaraderie blooming within these walls. Caleb arrived, his characteristic enthusiasm lighting up the room. "Hey Jamal, you won't believe what I heard," he exclaimed, practically bouncing on his feet. "Some kids from a nearby school want to join our program." "Really? That's fantastic," I replied, feeling a sense of excitement swell within me. The more, the merrier. This community deserves to be as inclusive as possible. As we prepared for the day's activities, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the verge of something monumental. With each new participant, we were not just expanding our numbers, we were enriching the tapestry of stories, each thread bringing a unique experience to our collective narrative. When the kids started to arrive, I noticed a blend of old faces and new ones, each one buzzing with anticipation. I welcomed them warmly, feeling the energy in the room spike. "Today, we're going to dive into songwriting," I announced. "We'll learn how to transform our thoughts and feelings into music." As I guided them through the process, I encouraged them to draw from their own experiences, to let their stories flow onto the page. I shared my own journey, explaining how my music had been a voice for my struggles and triumphs. The kids listened intently, their eyes wide with inspiration. A new girl named Leela, shy and reserved, raised her hand hesitantly. "What if no one likes what I write?" she asked softly, fear evident in her voice. "Leila," I replied gently, "what matters most is that you put your heart into it. Music is like a mirror, it reflects your truth. If you're honest with yourself, it will resonate with others." Encouraged by my words, she nodded, a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes. The room filled with the sounds of pencils scratching against paper, smiles growing as ideas blossomed. Throughout the afternoon, we shared our creations. Leela, channeling her newfound confidence, shared a heartfelt piece about fitting in and finding her place. The sincerity in her voice captivated everyone, and I watched as her apprehension transformed into pride, her peers cheering her on with enthusiasm. As we concluded the workshop, I looked at the sea of young faces illuminated by joy and self-discovery. This was more than just music. It was about empowerment, community, and shared understanding. Encouraged by the week's success, I proposed an idea. How about we host a special showcase featuring our new songs next month? This will be a chance for everyone to take the stage and share their story. The kids erupted in excitement, their uncertainty replaced by determination. "Let's do it," they cheered, and I felt a thrill knowing we were creating a platform for their voices to be heard. As the date of the showcase approached, our rehearsals became more focused and energized. Each young musician blossomed, their talents shining brighter with every practice. I couldn't wait to see how the event would bring everyone together, celebrating their hard work and resilience. The day of the showcase arrived with a buzz of anticipation filling the church. Families and friends crowded into the seats, eager to witness the creativity of these young artists. I felt a sense of pride swell within me, knowing how far they had come. As the lights dimmed, my heart raced in tandem with the nervous energy coming from the performers. I stepped on stage to introduce the night's event. "Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled to have you here for a very special showcase. Tonight, you will experience the incredible talent and creativity of our young musicians. Let's lift them up and celebrate their voices." The first performer stepped forward, Leela. I could see her hands tremble slightly as she took the microphone. When she began to sing, her voice soared, carrying the audience along with her heartfelt lyrics. As the final note hung in the air, the room erupted into applause, and Leela beamed with pure joy. One by one, each student took their turn on stage, showcasing not just their music, but the courage they had built alongside their skills. The nervousness slowly dissipated, replaced by a tangible sense of accomplishment that illuminated their faces. As I watched the joy and pride radiate from the young performers, I realized how far we had all come together. The rich tapestry of our community was growing richer still, every thread signifying resilience, passion, and unity. When it was my turn to perform, I stepped into the spotlight, feeling gratitude wash over me. I shared a heartfelt song inspired by my journey, the struggles I had faced, and the community that had embraced me. The audience listened intently, captivated not just by the melody but the authenticity of my story. As I finished, the applause felt like a warm embrace. The echoes of the evening filled me with hope, and I could see tears glistening in some of my friends' eyes, a shared understanding resonating amongst us. After the showcase, I stepped off the stage, feeling exhilarated by what we had accomplished. The sense of belonging was palpable. The rich man came over with a broad smile, his daughter at his side. "A truly inspiring evening," he said, his eyes shining with pride. "You've created something remarkable here." "Thank you for your support," I replied, my heart swelling. "We've built a family through music." As we chatted, I realized that this transformation we had witnessed was more than just a shift in one individual. It was a transformative movement, echoing through our community and resonating far beyond the walls of the church. That night, as I drifted off to sleep, I felt a profound sense of purpose. The music, the voices, the connections, all of it felt like a promise of a brighter future. I was ready for whatever lay ahead, eager to embrace new adventures and continue weaving our story, one beat at a time. Chapter 13. The following weeks were filled with the hum of creativity and anticipation as our mentorship program continued to thrive. The showcase had not only brought our young musicians closer together, but it also deepened the bonds within the broader community. It felt as if the music was fostering connections that would last a lifetime. As I arrived at the church for our next workshop, I noticed a sense of excitement in the air. Kids chattered eagerly, their laughter echoing down the hall. I could see them forming groups, discussing ideas for new songs and collaborations. It filled me with joy to witness their growth, both as musicians and individuals. "Hey, Jamal," Caleb called as he set up the space. "I've been thinking we should try something different today. What if we introduce a theme for the next showcase? It could inspire the kids to get creative." I loved the idea. "Absolutely. Let's brainstorm some themes together. Something that reflects our journey so far would resonate with everyone." After gathering the kids together, we excitedly shared our idea. As we began brainstorming, suggestions flew around the room like confetti. Eventually, one theme stood out: Voices of Change. It embodied the strength in our stories and the transformation we had witnessed in one another. With newfound energy, the kids began working on their pieces, each diving deep into their narratives and exploring ways to express their unique perspectives through song. I could see the determination in their eyes, eager to share their voices and contribute to this community of creativity. The rich man continued to play an active role, offering to sponsor instruments for those who needed them and providing resources to help fund our events. His daughter, now more involved, began to explore her own talents, participating in rehearsals and even writing a few lines of song lyrics. One sunny Saturday, after our workshop, he approached me, clearly excited about something. "Jamal, I have an idea I want to run by you," he began. "We could organize a community music festival in the park, featuring our young musicians. It would give everyone an incredible platform to showcase their talents and inspire more people to get involved." The concept thrilled me. "That's an amazing idea. A festival could bring everyone together, and it would be the perfect way to celebrate our journey." We brainstormed ways to make the festival happen, from securing permits to reaching out to food vendors and local businesses for sponsorships. Over the next few weeks, the team came together to hammer out the details. The excitement buzzed through our meetings, and the kids enthusiastically contributed ideas for performances, workshops, and activities to engage the community. As the festival date approached, I felt a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. We promoted the event through flyers, social media, and word of mouth, resulting in a collective effort that energized everyone involved. The day of the festival finally arrived, and the park was bursting with energy. Colorful tents decorated the grounds, booths set up by local vendors enticed visitors with delicious food, and laughter filled the air. As I stood at the entrance, I felt a sense of pride swell within me, knowing we had created something special, a space where our community could come together through music. Caleb and I strolled through the bustling park, taking in the sights and sounds. The The anticipation built as familiar faces began to gather. The rich man approached us, beaming with pride. "You've done a fantastic job, Jamal. This is truly inspiring." "Thanks, it feels incredible to see everyone coming together," I replied, overwhelmed by gratitude. As more attendees arrived, the performances began. Our young musicians took the stage one by one, showcasing their talents, their stories resonating with every note. Each performance was a testament to their growth, and I watched, filled with awe and admiration. Ava shared her latest song, her voice stronger than ever, captivating the audience. Each performance followed suit, each child radiating confidence and sharing their truth. The crowd cheered and applauded, their enthusiasm energizing the atmosphere. I caught sight of the rich man again, smiling at the sight of his daughter, who was swaying to the music. It warmed my heart to see not only her connection to the event, but also the way he had embraced this journey. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, it was time for the final performance. The rich man approached me and said, "I think it's time for you both to take the stage. The audience is ready for you." Caleb and I exchanged excited looks. We stepped onto the stage, adrenaline pumping through our veins. "We're excited to share a musical piece inspired by every voice you've heard today," I announced to the crowd. We began our performance with an upbeat song celebrating our journeys, the struggles, the friendships, and the transformation we had all experienced together. The audience clapped along, the energy infectious. As we played, I felt a deep connection with everyone present, the music weaving us together in a beautiful tapestry of shared experiences. As we completed the final note, the crowd erupted into applause, their cheers echoing across the park. It was a moment of celebration, a tribute to the magic of community and the power of music to change lives. As the festival wrapped up, I wandered among the attendees, soaking in the joyful conversations and laughter around me. I felt a sense of belonging more profound than ever, a realization that we had built something meaningful, a collective force of change. The rich man approached me one last time as the night wore on. "Jamal, I'm proud to be part of this journey with you. Your passion and dedication inspire everyone around you." "Thank you," I said, genuinely touched. "I wouldn't be where I am without the support of this community. Together, we can achieve so much more." As the festival drew to a close and people began to leave, I felt a powerful sense of hope surge within me. This was just the beginning. Together, we could continue to lift each other up and create more opportunities for artists to share their voices. With our music guiding us and a community eager to embrace change, I knew we were ready to take the next step. And as I stood there, surrounded by friends and family, I felt more inspired than ever to keep weaving our narrative, one voice at a time. Chapter 14. In the weeks following the festival, the excitement continued to ripple through our community. The energy from our collective experiences infused everything we did, and new opportunities began to emerge. The success of the festival encouraged more kids to join our mentorship program, deepening our pool of talent and creativity. As we settled into our new routine, we started exploring the idea of an album, a compilation of original songs created by the kids. The initiative would allow them to share their voices not just locally, but beyond the walls of our church. It felt monumental, a way to encapsulate the spirit of our community in a tangible way. One evening, as we gathered for our usual workshop, I presented the idea to the group. "How does everyone feel about creating an album together? A chance to share your stories and music more widely." The room erupted in excitement. The kids buzzed with enthusiasm. Caleb chimed in, "This isn't just about recording music. This is about leaving a mark. We can create something that lasts." We brainstormed ideas for song themes, discussing what each participant wanted to express. Stories flowed freely, and soon we had a list of ideas, ranging from personal struggles to dreams for the future. Each song would be a reflection of the individual's voice, a crucial part of our larger narrative. As the weeks rolled on, we worked tirelessly. With every session, we moved closer to our goal. I could see their confidence growing with each rehearsal. Ava, Leela, Michael, and others started collaborating on pieces, sharing their strengths and creative ideas. One day while we practiced, I noticed Leela seemed quieter than usual. Pulling her aside, I asked, "Is everything okay? You seem a bit off today." "I've been trying to write a song, but I don't think it's good enough," she admitted, her brow furrowed in concern. "Leela, your voice matters. Remember our first showcase. Everyone loved your music because it was authentic. Just let your heart guide you," I encouraged her, hoping to reignite the spark of inspiration. As she nodded, I realized how vital it was to continually nurture their belief in themselves. I encouraged her to share her unfinished lyrics with the group, assuring her that collaboration could bring out the best in her work. Later that week, we held our first recording session. The excitement was palpable as we set up microphones and sound equipment in the church, transforming it into a makeshift studio. The room buzzed with anticipation, every participant eager to contribute their unique artistry. As each child took their turn at the microphone, I watched their personalities shine. Ava's voice soared as she sang her heartfelt song about belonging, while Michael poured his soul into a cover that resonated deeply. I felt a profound sense of pride, realizing that we were capturing these moments forever. The rich man's support continued to grow, and he offered to help with logistics for the recording process. It was uplifting to see how invested he had become, not just in the project, but in fostering genuine relationships with the kids. In the weeks that followed, we completed recording tracks, each piece a testament to the hard work and determination of our young musicians. The project brought us all closer, creating bonds that stretched beyond our love for music. The studio sessions became a blend of laughter and creativity, a celebration of each unique voice contributing to our shared vision. As we approached the final touches of the album, we decided to plan a release event. Let's host a listening party where we can share the album with the community, I suggested. The idea was met with enthusiastic approval, and we set to work organizing the event. The night of the release event arrived, and the church was alive with energy. Friends, family, and community members filled the pews, all eager to celebrate the culmination of our hard work. Colorful banners adorned the walls, and we had set up a small stage for the performers. Caleb and I stood at the front, feeling the adrenaline course through our veins. Tonight is a celebration of each voice that has echoed through these walls, I announced to the crowd. We are proud to present our album, and we hope it inspires you just as it has inspired us. The first track played, a beautiful introduction that encapsulated our journey crafting the album. As the songs unfolded, I watched the audience sway and smile, visibly moved by the stories conveyed through each note. The music became a bridge, connecting us all within the sanctuary. When it was time for the kids to perform, Leela stepped up, confidently taking the microphone. "This next song is mine," she said, glancing nervously at the audience. "It's about finding strength in yourself." She began to sing, her voice steady and soulful, carrying every emotion she had woven into the lyrics. The crowd listened intently, their admiration evident. I could see the pride emanating from her as she sang, her journey reflected in every note. As each young musician took their turn, the evening unfolded like a beautiful tapestry. As the final track played, a collaborative piece that brought everyone together, emotions swirled in the air. The audience erupted in cheers, the applause a resonant acknowledgement of every individual who had poured their heart into this project. After the final song, we stepped off the stage, flushed with excitement. The rich man approached again, his daughter beaming beside him. "This has been a remarkable journey, and I can't express how proud I am to be part of this," he said. "Thank you for your unwavering support," I replied, feeling the warmth of connection that had formed among us. It's been a journey we'll always cherish. As the night continued, I saw our community celebrating together, sharing stories and laughter. I realized that our album was more than just music. It was a reflection of our growth, our resilience, and the unbreakable bonds we had forged. Looking around, I felt a rush of hope wash over me. This was only the beginning, and I knew a bright future awaited us. With every note played and every story shared, we would continue to create a legacy of positivity and change, one song at a time. As I stood there, surrounded by friends and family in a warm embrace of community, I was ready to embrace everything that lay ahead. Chapter 15. In the aftermath of the album release, our community felt invigorated, the energy from the event lingering like sweet perfume in the air. We had achieved something significant together, and it seemed to ignite a newfound enthusiasm for music in everyone involved. People were talking, sharing stories, and reflecting on how far we had come. Over the following weeks, requests poured in for copies of our album from community members who wanted to support us. The rich man helped facilitate distribution, arranging for a local music shop to carry our album. It was exhilarating to see our hard work reach even further into the community. As we settled into this new rhythm, I gathered the kids for our weekly session. "What do you all think about planning a tour? Just small performances at local schools and community centers to share our music and inspire more kids to join us," I suggested. The room erupted with enthusiasm. "Yes, that would be so cool," Ava exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We can show everyone how awesome our community is," Leela added, her newfound confidence shining through. Caleb and I exchanged excited glances. "Let's make this happen," Caleb affirmed. "We'll start by reaching out to local schools and see where we can fit in." In the following days, we worked diligently to arrange performances. We reached out to community centers and schools, sharing our story and the impact of our mentorship program. Each response came back filled with enthusiasm. The kids couldn't wait to hit the road. As the tour dates approached, we prepared a dynamic set, incorporating songs from our album along with interactive segments where we would invite students to join us on stage. Our goal was to inspire and empower, to spark creativity and encourage other young musicians to express themselves. On the day of our first performance, nerves mixed with excitement as we loaded up the van with instruments and gear. Each member of our group felt a sense of purpose, and I knew we were ready to share the magic we had created. The auditorium of the first school was bustling with students, their chatter filling the air as they settled into their seats. As we took the stage, I felt a wave of adrenaline surge through me. "Hey, everyone, we're so excited to be here today to share our music and stories with you," I called to the crowd. The energy was palpable. We began our set, each song resonating through the auditorium, capturing the attention of the audience. As we played, I could see the students becoming more engaged, their eyes lighting up as they encountered a different kind of music, a reflection of their own lives. When we invited some students up to play along, the excitement reached a fever pitch. Each young musician who stepped up radiated creativity, forging connections with us and with each other. By the end of our set, the entire audience was on their feet, cheering and dancing along. Afterward, we held a Q&A session, allowing students to ask questions about music, songwriting, and pursuing their passions. I was struck by their curiosity and eagerness to learn. Several students shared their dreams of becoming artists themselves, and I recognized the familiar spark of enthusiasm that had ignited my own journey. At the end of our day at the school, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. We were not just sharing music, we were sparking a movement, empowering young voices to rise and be heard. As we traveled to our next performance, I reflected on how far we had come. The transformation in our community was undeniable. Each young musician we inspired carried a part of our story, and I knew that together, we would continue to change lives through the power of music. The tour progressed with increasing momentum. Each stop brought enthusiastic crowds and new opportunities. In one community center, we partnered with local nonprofits to offer songwriting workshops. The response was incredible. Students were clamoring to learn how to express themselves musically. One evening, after a successful performance, I found us sitting around a campfire at a local youth retreat, exchanging stories and laughter. I looked around at the faces illuminated by the flames, each one representing a unique journey. It filled me with warmth and gratitude to know that we were creating a family built on shared experiences. As I sat there, I realized that the rich man's involvement had shifted our dynamic, turning him into not just a supporter, but a vital part of our community. He listened intently as one of the kids shared their struggles and triumphs, offering advice and encouragement. The connection between us all grew deeper as we shared stories of our dreams. I had started this journey wanting to give back, and now I discovered that I was gaining just as much, perhaps even more, from the experiences we were creating together. As the campfire flickered, illuminating the faces around me, I felt a wave of purpose wash over me. This was more than just music or performances. It was about building bridges and nurturing connections. Each interaction strengthened our community and affirmed the importance of lifting one another. In the weeks that followed, the tour expanded, new partnerships formed, and our outreach continued to grow. The energy we created had become infectious, a rallying call for others to join in. As we arrived back at our church for a much-deserved rest, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. I knew that together we could make a difference, inspiring others to find their own voices through music. The journey ahead was bright, filled with limitless possibilities, and I was eager to embrace whatever came next with my piano, my friends, and a community that resonated with hope and change. Chapter 16. As the sun rose over the vibrant city of Houston, the promise of a new chapter loomed on the horizon. Our tour had been a transformative experience for everyone involved, and the seeds we had planted began to flourish beyond our expectations. The community we had nurtured was growing, and it felt as though our positive impact was rippling outward, touching lives in ways we had never imagined. Upon returning from the tour, we settled back into our routine at the church. School was back in session, and our mentorship program expanded to include after-school sessions at local schools. Young musicians were flocking to our program like moths to a flame, drawn by the inspiring stories shared by their peers. In our first session back, I gathered everyone together. The energy in the room was electric, filled with excitement and the sound of chatter. I want you all to know how proud I am of each and every one of you, I began. Our tour was incredible, and it showcased not just our music but the strength of our community. Let's build on that momentum. Caleb stepped in, his enthusiasm infectious. We have more performances lined up, and we'll be collaborating with local artists to keep things fresh and exciting. We want everyone to contribute their ideas. Leela raised her hand, an eager smile on her face. Can we do a songwriting challenge? It would be a fun way to spark creativity. That's a brilliant idea, Leela, I replied, appreciative of her enthusiasm. Let's incorporate writing prompts into our sessions and see what everyone can come up with. We'll share our creations at our next showcase. Over the next few weeks, songwriting became a focal point of our workshops. The kids thrived in this environment of creativity and collaboration, and watchful eyes turned towards them, eager to build on their talents. They shared personal stories through lyrics, creating melodies that held pieces of their hearts. As the rhythm of our sessions pulsed forward, the rich man's daughter also began to find her voice. She started sharing her lyrics during workshops, and I could see her confidence blossom. I want to perform, she announced one day, determination gleaming in her eyes. With support from her father, her first performance was set for the upcoming showcase. I helped her explain the creative process behind her songs, guiding her as she prepared. Each practice chipped away at her initial fears, revealing her true passion for music. The showcase day arrived with a burst of energy filling the church. Friends, family, and even local media gathered, eager to support our young artists. The vibrant decorations adorned the sanctuary, transforming it into a welcoming space that felt alive with possibility. As I stepped onto the stage once more, I could see the excitement reflected in the audience and the young performers alike. Welcome, everyone, I greeted, allowing the warmth from the crowd to wash over me. Tonight is about celebrating creativity and the incredible talents within our community. Let's lift each other up. The first act was Leela, stepping into the spotlight with a newfound grace. As she sang her heartfelt song, the audience listened intently, appreciating her vulnerability. When she finished, the applause echoed through the room, a testament to the power of sharing one's truth. Performances flowed in a beautiful rhythm, each child shining brightly. The rich man's daughter was up next, nerves shimmering in her eyes but determination shining through. As she began to sing her original piece, the room held its breath. Her voice, once timid, now carried strength and clarity. The audience was captivated, and after her performance, she beamed, the applause washing over her like a warm embrace. As the showcase continued, I realized how far we had come together. There was something magical about witnessing these young musicians finding their voices, confronting their fears, and stepping into their own power. It was a reminder of the journey we had taken, filled with growth, courage, and transformation. As we concluded the evening with a group performance, everyone joined in, our voices harmonizing beautifully. The joy shared in that moment reflected the essence of what we had created, an unbreakable bond nurtured through music. After the dust settled and the audience began to filter out, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude for everything we had accomplished. The connections we had forged and the stories shared had become part of a larger narrative, one of resilience, hope, and the power of community. As I walked outside into the cool evening air, the rich man joined me. Jamal, I can only express how proud I am of what you've built here. This community is flourishing, and your leadership has made all the difference. I couldn't have done it without everyone's support, I replied, genuinely humbled. We created this together, and I'm excited to see where it leads us next. He smiled, his eyes glistening with warmth. How about we take this to the next level? I'm interested in establishing a scholarship fund for young musicians in our community to help them pursue their dreams. A thrill of inspiration coursed through me. That would be incredible. It would offer them opportunities they might not have otherwise. Together, we can change lives. With that, the foundation for the next chapter began to take shape. We stood together in the cool night air, one part of a greater journey that was about to unfold. Our community was resilient, vibrant, and uniquely beautiful, a tapestry woven together through shared stories and music. As I closed my eyes for a moment, I could hear the echoes of laughter and melodies swirling around me, a harmonious reminder of what we had built. I was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that as long as I had my piano and this extraordinary community beside me, we could create a future filled with limitless possibilities. Chapter 17. The weeks that followed were filled with planning and anticipation. The establishment of the Scholarship Fund opened a new door for our community, one that promised to empower countless young musicians to pursue their dreams. The rich man and I collaborated closely, outlining the criteria and application process, and creating a promotional campaign that would reach as many aspiring artists as possible. As the excitement grew, I felt the pressure rise to ensure that we were doing everything right. I wanted to make sure that every potential applicant felt welcomed and encouraged to apply, regardless of their background. We reached out to local schools and community centers, creating flyers and hosting information sessions to explain the scholarship and how it could change lives. Through these outreach efforts, I was amazed by the lives we touched. Students began to see the opportunities unfolding before them. Dreams of music education, instrument purchases, and workshops seemed within reach. It was uplifting to witness their enthusiasm, knowing that we were igniting a spark of hope in their hearts. On one particularly sunny afternoon, we organized an open house at the church, inviting potential scholarship applicants to come and learn more. The turnout was incredible, with families gathering to hear about our vision. Caleb and I led workshops, allowing kids to experience the magic of creating music firsthand. Throughout the day, I saw their faces light up as they explored different instruments, joined in on jam sessions, and found joy in collaboration with each other. They were eager to express themselves, and that shared excitement felt like a powerful reminder of why we started this journey in the first place. As applications began to roll in, the energy in the church intensified. Kids poured their hearts into their submissions, sharing their stories and dreams, writing about their aspirations, struggles, and the impact of music on their lives. Each application became a testament to their dedication and passion. In the evenings, as I sifted through the applications, I felt a swirling mix of emotions: pride, gratitude, and a renewed commitment to helping these young musicians find their paths. Each story was unique, a reflection of creativity and resilience that spoke to my heart. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself at the piano, letting my fingers glide over the keys, lost in thought. Suddenly, I heard a soft knock on the door. It was Leela, her face bright with excitement. "I just got my acceptance letter for a summer music camp," she exclaimed. "That's amazing, Layla," I responded, filled with joy. "You've worked so hard and you truly deserve this opportunity." "I couldn't have done it without this community," she said earnestly. "I'm learning to believe in myself because of all of you." Her words resonated deeply, and I realized that this journey extended beyond music. It was about fostering belief and nurturing potential in each other. With every milestone achieved, we were breaking down barriers and transforming lives. As the scholarship deadline approached, we held a final information session to offer support to applicants. The excitement was palpable, and I watched as the kids shared their hopes and dreams with one another, their camaraderie evident. Finally, the day of the scholarship announcements arrived. We gathered everyone in the church, the air thick with anticipation. My heart raced as I took the stage, feeling the energy from the eager faces in the crowd. "Today marks an important milestone for our community," I began, my voice steady. "We stand on the brink of empowering young musicians. We're not just announcing scholarship recipients. We're celebrating the dedication, talent, and passion each of you has shown." As I read out the names, cheers erupted from the crowd. Parents hugged their children, and friends expressed their enthusiasm. It was a moment filled with elation, pride, and gratitude. Every recipient was deserving, and I felt the weight of each story reflected in their smiles. After the announcements concluded, we celebrated with a small gathering: cookies, refreshments, and of course, music. Each recipient took a moment to share how they planned to use the scholarship to further their musical journey. Ava spoke about pursuing her dream of attending a music conservatory. Michael mentioned he wanted to buy his first guitar, and Leela excitedly announced that she would be taking vocal lessons. Each story resonated within me, a reminder of why we had created this opportunity. As the evening continued, I noticed the rich man standing quietly off to the side, observing the festivities. I approached him, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "Thank you for making this possible," I said. "Your support has transformed countless lives." He smiled, his heart evident in the warmth of his gaze. "It's been an incredible journey, Jamal. I'm just glad to be a part of it. I've seen the profound impact music can have on young lives." As families celebrated, I realized we were building something that would extend far beyond this moment. Our community was blossoming, a tapestry of stories woven together by threads of resilience, hope, and harmony. Looking around, I felt the weight of responsibility and commitment to ensure this momentum continued. The scholarship was just the beginning. We would keep nurturing our young artists and encouraging their creativity. That night, as I lay in bed, I reflected on how far we had come. The journey had been filled with challenges and triumphs, but it had also led me to discover the power of music to change lives. I was determined to keep pushing forward, to continue lifting our community higher, one note at a time. With my piano standing ready in the corner, I knew that the possibilities ahead were limitless. The stories we had shared, the lives we had touched, this was only the beginning of a beautiful journey, and I was eager to embrace it all. Chapter 18. As the seasons changed, so did our community, evolving into an even stronger network of support and creativity. The scholarship recipients began attending music camps, workshops, and lessons, diving deep into their passions. It filled my heart with joy to see their dedication rewarded. One evening, we hosted a special event to celebrate the achievements of the scholarship members. The church was adorned with decorations celebrating their journeys, highlighting their stories, and the room buzzed with excitement. Family members, friends, and community members filled the pews, ready to honor these remarkable young musicians. "Welcome, everyone," I announced, standing at the front of the church, filled with enthusiasm. "Tonight, we celebrate the incredible talents of our scholarship recipients and the community that has supported them. Let's lift each other up and share in this joy together." As the first recipient, Ava stepped forward to perform the song she had written during her music camp. The room fell silent, her voice resonating with emotion as she sang about hope, dreams, and the journey that had led her to this moment. Her raw talent and vulnerability captivated the audience, and the applause that followed filled the church with warmth. Michael was next, showcasing the guitar he had purchased with his scholarship. He played an original piece that he had written, inspired by his own experiences and aspirations. The sound echoed beautifully, a symbol of how far he had come. Leela took the stage with newfound confidence, having undergone vocal lessons and practicing diligently for this moment. The growth in her voice and performance was evident, and it brought tears to many eyes in the audience. Each performance was more than just music. It was a testament to their hard work, determination, and the power of community support. Throughout the evening, each recipient took turns to perform, sharing songs that told their stories, dreams, and aspirations. The atmosphere was charged with emotion, the audience cheering and celebrating the courage displayed by these young artists. When it was time for the grand finale, I approached the stage to join the scholarship recipients. "Let's remind everyone why we're here. Let's perform together," I encouraged. The children beamed, filled with excitement, as we prepared to share a collaborative piece that represented our journey as a community. As we began to play, the harmony enveloped the room, and the audience joined in, clapping along and singing the chorus. It was pure magic, the smiles, the laughter, and the joy radiating through every heart in the church. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. We had built something extraordinary together, a community committed to creativity and upliftment. The love shared among us transformed what had started as individual journeys into a collective force, a tapestry woven with threads of music, resilience, and empowerment. As we finished our performance, the applause erupted, echoing through the church. I glanced at the faces all around me, families cherishing their loved ones, friends celebrating achievements, and a community bonded by shared stories. After the event concluded, the rich man approached me, a smile broadening across his face. "Jamal, tonight was unforgettable. You've created a legacy here." I smiled back, feeling the warmth of his words. It's been a collective effort. We've all played a part, and I couldn't have done it without this incredible community. As the night wound down, discussions flowed among attendees about future opportunities, a songwriting workshop, collaborations with local artists, and even a community-wide music festival. Ideas swirled around, and I could feel the momentum building, fueled by the excitement and passion of our community. After everyone had left, I lingered for a moment, looking around at the now empty church. The echoes of laughter, music, and shared stories hung in the air. This was more than just a place. It had become a sanctuary for creativity and connection. On my way home, I reflected on the journey, the struggles, the triumphs, and the people who had joined me along the way. There had been moments of doubt and fear, but those had been overshadowed by the warmth of our community. I realized that the power of music was not just in the notes played, but in the relationships built and the lives touched. As I reached my house, I sat down at the piano, the familiar keys welcoming me. I began to compose a new piece, inspired by the transformation we had experienced together. The melody flowed effortlessly, capturing the essence of hope and dreams. I knew that our story was far from over. With every note, every shared experience, we would continue to build on the foundation we had created, a legacy that would inspire generations to come. As the notes filled the room, I embraced the future, filled with optimism and purpose. Together, we had created a community of change, and as long as I had my music and the support of those around me, I was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The journey continued, and I would take each step with an open heart, eager to see where the music would lead us next.